Yeah, welcome to the video and let's talk about what I need to talk about. So it's no denial that the topic of relationships and falling in love is a very dominant force in society. We have all types of people talking about what's the best relationship model or the best marriage model. Is it an open relationship? Is it a polyamorous relationship? Is it a single and monogamous relationship? Is it this kind of relationship, or should relationships be like this or that, XYZ? Everyone's constantly trying to find that answer, and really there's only one answer, and I think the problem with humans is that we overcomplicate things and run away from the direct answer to try and explore new ways. But what I notice about all these other ways that people have presented is that none of them have ever been good or sustainable or long term. They've been good for a little bit, but definitely not for a long-term situation. Now, I care about you guys so much. I really do. And I would hate for you guys to be in a relationship where you waste your time. I've seen many times, older people in my life that have always told me about the regrets of picking the bad partner or the wrong partner. And that's always been my kind of thing growing up, seeing people tell me to avoid having the wrong partner and things of that nature, X, Y, and Z. I always thought that having the wrong partner seems very black and white. If they treat you bad, that's a bad relationship to be in. However, that's not the only way a bad relationship can be bad, because did you know you could also be in a very happy relationship, but it can still be pretty bad for you? That's the thing with the love and relationships, you feel me? A lot of us are looking for comfort and simplicity in relationships. And oftentimes, that's not really sustainable. So what is the ideal relationship? And how do you know if you're with the wrong person? Well, I like to think of the analogy of two knives. Iron sharpening iron. When you need to sharpen a knife, you need another knife to do that kind of work. So what you do is you rub the two knives together, and eventually that makes the other sharper and the other sharper as well. So what you leave with is two blunt knives, or one sharp knife or the other sharp knife, and they rub up against each other. Point is, they're both going to end up being sharp at the end of the day. So how does that relate to relationships? If you find yourself being stagnant or your life deteriorating in a relationship, whether it seems healthy and there's no arguments or problems or things of that nature, you are in the wrong relationship. Or you're in the right relationship, it's just you two need to work harder.
As you go on to watch this video, I need you guys to remember a very crucial detail that makes this video valid to you. Your partner must want to change. You can't force a partner or force someone to want to change, because there's a way that things should be and there's a way that things are. And the reality is some people just don't want to change. Some people are just resistant to that change, which is fine. You don't force it on them, you feel me? They got to change what they want to change. Doesn't mean that you have to wait for them, though. You got to find someone who wants to change just as much as you want to change, you feel me? Don't be settling for someone who's stubborn to that. This only works if both of you are not stubborn. But the sad reality is some of you have stubborn partners, and the question you have to ask yourself is this someone that you have to be with for the rest of your life, where you're grown and they don't want to grow?
You see, the thing is about relationships, right? When you're in a relationship that you're meant to be in, that's ordained by God, the relationship will put you to the test. It's going to reveal your negative things that you have in your life. So if you got anger issues, it's going to flag up in your relationship. Your partner is not going to deal with that. Maybe the other ones did, and that's why you got away with it for so long. But if God really wants you to change, he's going to have your partner point that out. And likewise with your partner, if they have a bad habit, you're going to point out that bad habit. And your partner may have gone through many life experiences, not thinking that issue that they have is a wrong thing. But they come right into you, and now you're not handling that. And what you have is two people who initially butt heads. And that's why you see in marriages sometimes some people are like, oh, ever since we got married, or we argue and come into differences and odds. Now in some cases, that marriage is not meant to be there because it's a negative thing. But oftentimes people break up for very simple things. Oh, I didn't like the way that they spoke and didn't communicate, or things that and the third. The important thing to recognize is that for this kind of relationship to work, two people need to come to the understanding that they both have problems, and they both have to listen to each other, they both have to change, and they both have to do better. Not one is better than the other. We individually have to change. When you are in a relationship, you go up. You don't stay flatlined, and you don't go down. And that's why I had to realize I was in a lot of good relationships, very stagnant, but I always got bored of them very quickly, because I didn't feel like I was being challenged. I didn't feel like things that I needed to change were being pointed out, and I always left, you feel me? So when I prayed to God for my relationship that I'm in right now, I met my wife, and soon to be wife. Look at me calling her wife already, but it will happen eventually. But I met her, and when I met her, you know, she had flaws I didn't like, and I had flaws that she didn't like, you know. And initially, we were a bit button heads and things of that nature. Nothing toxic, like, you know, anything crazy like that. But it made us, we didn't like those things in each other. We very much loved each other. That was the thing. But we didn't like the traits that we had. So that's where we involved God into the relationship. And God clearly put it, I was like, God, I thought this was my wife. What's going on? It's like, it is your wife. That's why you are going to improve for your wife. Because if you love this woman so much, you're going to change for her. And he said to her, if you love him so much, you are going to change. See, that's the thing. You can love someone so much, but the relationship is only going to last if you change. And a lot of people don't want to change. A lot of people think that they can point the finger. I have nothing to change whatsoever. So that's where you have to understand that in order to decide if you're in the right relationship or not, do both of you understand that you have to change and improve on bad habits? Because your bad habits are going to be on front display. You're going to feel very naked and very embarrassed and frustrated with things that you're doing, and they're going to feel frustrated with you and things like that, vice versa. You need to be in a relationship where you see each other like that. You know, I love you and you are the best person ever, but I dislike that so much, and if you continue doing that, that's going to push me away. I can't stay if you keep doing that. And vice versa, you feel me? At the end of the day, you run into a person that's going to bring out the best in you. And ever since I met my woman, my anger issues, I knew that wasn't going to fly in my relationship. I had to change that. I knew that all the bad things that I had was not going to fly in the relationship. And I had to change that because I loved her so much. And same for her to me. And since we've met each other from when we first started, I can confidently say that we've both increased in our lives individually and together. And I couldn't be more grateful, you feel me? Because without her, I would have never went through this change. And we're still growing and learning as the days go by, you know. I feel at peace because I went through that understanding of being with my partner and being forced to change for her. And she was forced to change for me. So a lot of you guys think that you're in a relationship. Oh, we never argue. We never do this. We never do that. I'm not saying you have to argue. But golly, if you are in a relationship that's not pushing you to be a better person, that is probably the wrong relationship to be in. But the only way you know that is if you have a right connection with God. I hate seeing marriages break over simple stuff. You see it all the time. People, if only they involve God in their relationship, they'll realize that this is part of the process. When you get married, it's a covenant with God. And the devil's going to do everything in his power to destroy that marriage. He's going to speak thoughts into your head. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Whichever which way, he's going to split you guys up. That's what it is. You guys think that a marriage is just not spiritual. No, a marriage is a covenant with God. Hence why it's so serious. It's why it's so big. There's a lot of religious aspects into it. And that's what you have to understand, that in order for it to work, you must have God in it to remind you that this is happening to change for the other person. I'm not on about toxic people. I'm simply on about the two of you clearly love each other, but you both got ish to work on. I'm sad to say that as of recently, I have friends who are in relationships, and I can't really say anything to them because I don't want to get involved. I don't want to really speak on their situation. But unfortunately, I have friends who are in relationships who don't know how stagnant they have been. They don't know how, you know, their life is not, you know, that fire, that driving them doesn't seem to be the same as it used to be. You feel me? Whereas, you know, but then again, you just gotta pray for people like that. But I don't want you to be like my friends that are currently right there. I pray in Jesus' name that they elevate and they do better. But it's important that you understand that you must be improving, you must be excelling, you must be leveling up as you're with your partner. You're both meant to be growing together, not staying the same, because that's not gonna fly. It just isn't. So ensure that you're with a partner that is testing you as a person. You know, that's forcing you to change certain habits and adapt to new things. I was never affectionate until I met my woman. You feel me? I dealt with women before, and I always were very stern on like not being affectionate, but she's soft compared to me. So I had to bring out my affectionate side. I'd be like, okay, I gotta say I love yous and do the cutesy stuff. And now it's like, I look back, it's like, lo, I used to be very opposed to that, but now I'm very like, oh, my sugar, my baby. I've never called a woman that, but it feels so right calling her that. You feel me? So remember, make sure that you are always growing. And for those of you who are in relationships that are just like that, you feel what I'm saying? Sometimes, in the very rare occasion, The relationship is meant to be if you're both comfortable and not really doing anything. It's just one of you needs to work harder to push that narrative. And if your partner's not really on that mode, well, you can't really grow with someone like that, because they're going to be like, well, you've changed. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing this. You feel me? You need someone who recognizes that change and is willing to come with you on that change journey. You feel me? So just make sure that that's happening and that's the case. Don't ever think of settling for a relationship that doesn't push you to be a better version of you. Don't ever settle for anything like that unless you're okay with that. But I know a lot of people aren't okay with that, because we see a lot of people have midlife crises or grow up and say they regret or wish that they stayed on their grind or kept working harder and things of that nature. Because they got so blinded by comfortability, they just lost their touch. And I hate to see strong potential be thrown away because of fake facade of love. Gotta understand that the devil's gonna come at us every which way to stop us from being who God wants us to be. And one common way he does this is by putting us in a relationship that's filled with comfortability. I'm not saying that that partner that you're with is sent by the devil. However, he will persuade both of you to live in a very kind of comfortable, lazy lifestyle that strays you further away from the purpose that God has designed you to be involved with. And that's just sad. So don't allow the devil to trick you out your spot. Don't allow him to trick you out of your destiny. Love will never do that to you. Love is meant to be an addition to you, not something that completely shuts that all down. With that being said, my people, let's stand tall and march to God's will together as one. God bless, take care, and I'll see you guys next video.